Hello and welcome back, indie fans. My name is Nick, and this is another episode of Indie Impressions. Today we're going to be looking at Dark Scavenger by Psydra Games. This is one that I didn't quite know what I was getting into. It's an RPG, but it's very different from a lot of RPGs I've seen in that the way that it's approached doesn't actually involve any like tile-based, grid-based movement or anything. It's all just like an adventure game where you click from one area to the next and you have encounters and there's a lot of exposition. But best to just show you, the big thing about it is the scavenging mechanic, and that's kind of at the root of what makes this game work. So let's do a new game so I can show you the beginning. I know it's going to delete my save data. It's okay, I got up to chapter 2. So I'm going to read some of this stuff. I might skip through some of it as well, so I don't know, try and keep up, but I won't make it so confusing when possible. I'll explain the necessary stuff. So we're drifting through space, and this horrifying evil beast approaches out of space. I don't know why we're in space, but maybe that'll be explained later. I'm not sure how many chapters the game has, but, you know, Chapter 2 took me about 45 minutes to get to, so it seems like there could be a few hours to this game. So, another human, how disappointing. I was hoping for something a bit more filling. So this organ monster, or whatever it is, in space seems to have a fondness to eat people that it finds floating through space. I can't imagine happens all that often. I mean, space is quite vast. And how many times are you going to find something like the size of a grain of sand floating through, you know, 100,000-mile oceanscape? I don't know. So I have the choice to pick from one of two dialogues. I'm going to go with the "Get away from me, freaky space demon." Hardly, he says. His name is Den. He's the apex of eternity and the beginning of something more elaborate. I don't know exactly what that means, but okay. Something more elaborate. Let us conclude this verbal exchange. I must introduce you to a new breed of existence. I've spoken in this manner before, and this is sort of when you're trying to hint at something a bit more transcendent and grand than maybe there's a way to verbally express. It sounds a little hollow to me, but either way, it doesn't matter. This isn't really the crux of the whole game. So, you won't consume me so easily, or eat me if you dare, monster. Either way, that seems like it's kind of hinting at the same thing. Eat me if you dare. Cackles loudly, as you wish. So, I don't know, I'm just this dude floating through space, and somehow I'm supposed to fight this horrifying monster. So it's going to teach me how to fight right now. I think I get the point. It's pretty simple, actually. So you have a weapon menu, and I get 12 uses of an old sword. Every time you use one of these, it's going to say weapon -1, and then I'm going to have one less use. The same goes for my items. I have 4 battle boosters, which will increase the damage I do on my next old sword attack, and then I have an old robot which can hang out with me who will stun my enemy. And you're probably thinking, so what happens when I run out of my weapon? Well, that's what this fist up here is for. That's going to allow me to punch stuff and not use up durability on anything. Over here we've got an options menu, HP bar, and a heal potion area which is going to replenish when I stun enemies. So that adds a sort of a layer of complexity to this, since we'll be actively needing to stun the enemy in order to replenish potential health. So let's do a simple sword swipe, click what I want to attack, weapon -1. I slash him, and it gives a description of what I do every single time I attack. So he's going to stare at me, that's fine. Let's do no, let's not do that yet, because I'm going to need him to stun. Let's give myself a little bit more attack power. And usually I think using an item is going to use up a turn. This time it didn't, though. He's going to watch me carefully. I'm going to attack again. These tutorial battles are always pretty simple. I mean, there's not much to it. You just beat him up and beat him up and beat him up. So he's observing. He's getting acclimated and ready to bite my head off or something. Oh, he's focusing. That means he's getting ready. Fists do not degrade in battle. Yeah, I know that. I'm not probably going to need to do that, though. Let's do another battle booster. So far I'm really whittling him down quite a bit. The first time I fought him, actually, he did a lot of damage to me. Okay, so he's starting to attack now. I'm just gonna lean on that sword for a while until, see what happens. There won't be a ton of combat in this video, thankfully. There are ways around combat a lot of the time, and usually when there is, it doesn't take a particularly long time. This being the tutorial battle, though, to ease you into the situation, we have to do a bit more than usual. Something bad is about to happen. Yeah, I bet. He's a galactic monster with his hand around me. Of course something bad's gonna happen. Well, once I get low enough that I need to heal, then I'll start thinking about using my old robot ally. Let's punch him for fun. 1. I kick him straight in the rear. How do you even know where the rear is? There's, like, disembodied lungs and a psychedelic heart. And some sort of, like, cosmic gravel face going on over here, and then metal hands. And, you know, intestine system. It's quite a thing. I guess it's like a jelly? Oh, okay, he struck me for tremendous damage. This is the part where it teaches me how to heal. Look at me go. Okay, so now my healing potion's empty. Use my old robot. Stuns him. I get a little bit of health back in the healing potion. I think that jumps up considerably the next time I do it. Let's use my sword again. 12 more down. 14 damage. Sets me ablaze with the power of the sun. That's a lot of power, actually. I'm surprised I can live through this. Apparently I'm quite strong. As I find out that I am a dark scavenger later, and those might have some sort of special powers or abilities or something. Dive below Den's massive teeth as they chomp down. Okay. I'm glad he didn't chomp me, because that's uncomfortable. Beautiful music, too. I have to definitely give them props. The music really sets the stage nicely. I wish there was more music, in fact, because a lot of the game is played in... not silence, but, like, relative ambience with not a lot going on other than footsteps and, like, chirping sounds and stuff. Okay, I am very strong, so I've gotten permission to exist from this intergalactic demon thingy. It's a shame that you resist me. I could offer you something much greater than the reality you know. Well, I would be interested in that, but I wasn't presented with that option. But then again, I guess we wouldn't have much game to go through if I took him up on that. So he's going to leave me to rot in space, which really sucks, because being in space in the first place is already kind of a death sentence, usually. So it feels like I've been asleep for years. My eyelids weigh 1,000 pounds as my body struggles to stand. My buddies will show up in a second. So I wake up to find myself on a spacecraft with a very interesting cast of characters here. Let's greet them. Greetings, traveler. My name is Kameho. I believe that's how you say that. And on behalf of all the Dark Scavengers, I welcome you to our ship. This creepy green man is probably one of the more interesting looking guys in this game. He's, I don't know, he reminds me of something from, like, Rock and Roll Racing, I think, from back in the day on the SNES, like 94 or something. Welcome, new scavenger friend. My name's Falson, and the big one without a mouth is Gazer. Yeah, he stares at me. He reminds me, obviously, of the aliens, but with very spindly little hands and creepy little mouth tendrils. Yeah, pretty cool art on these characters. They definitely have their own personalities. Suppose you're wondering why you're here. Yeah, that would really be good to know. We found you floating through space. We weren't sure if you're going to wake up at all. That would have made me very sad. He apparently lost his mind, which would explain, like, the wild bow tie and sweet mustache. Actually, that's totally a great Salvador Dali mustache. We would love to let you rest, but unfortunately your life is still in peril. How so? Our ship is running out of fuel, and when that happens, we will all perish. Can we get more fuel? We can, but it won't be easy. Our ship detects a tremendous source of power emanating from a fortress on the planet we are currently orbiting. If you can get there and grab it for us, we could use it as fuel, maybe get out of this mess. That sounds good. I would like to do that. Wonderful! We will be able to support you through creating powerful equipment for you, but unfortunately all of us are terrible fighters. Yeah, they nod sadly. They've told me that there are others that used to be on their ship that were better fighters, but they were all easily dispatched. Well, maybe not easily, but accidentally, by various things. I'll explain the rest when you get down there. Head through the exit door when you're ready to depart. For the sake of brevity in this video, I will not click on all the NPCs, but rest assured they have plenty of dialogue. You can talk to them, get to know them a little bit. And it's probably a good idea that you do, because it will definitely give you more of an attachment to what's going on in the situation. So let's head on down to Chapter 1. The forest has beckoned us. Let it load a little bit, and we will be greeted by a scene here, and then I believe some dudes will show up in a second. So wandering through the serene forest, you encounter two bandits carrying a long marble box between themselves. That's an interesting thing to be carrying. Swiftly taking notice of you, the bandits place their heavy cargo on the ground, staring at you in disdain. Bandit says, "Hey, what do you think you're doing here? Don't you know who we are?" And I'm going to say, "Don't you know who I am? Should we know you?" Yeah, you should. I'm a dark scavenger, a powerful being who could easily destroy you, or I'm your leader, fool, bow down before me, or I'm from a nearby village. Yeah, I'm going to say I'm their leader because they look kind of stupid, so they'll probably believe me on that. You don't look like our leader, and then I will assert myself. I said, "Bow down, sir." And they immediately do. "We're sorry, Master Samokaj. We'll be on our way." Bandits dropped a large box on the ground before scampering into the distance. "Good work with those bandits," Kameho says. "Looks like you just found some loot. Do you know what to do with it?" I kind of do, but I'm going to ask him to teach me anyway, just because. We parked the ship nearby. Click on an arrow after gaining some loot, and you'll come back to ship where we'll be able to make something useful out of it. So the majority of the game is structured around talking with NPCs, collecting loot, and dealing with unique situations while exploring a map at sort of like a one scene-by-scene area. I'll show you what I mean in a second. There's our ship for reference. Yep, yeah, we were there a second ago. When you come here, we'll take that loot you collected and make cool equipment out of it. That sounds like a plan. We can make powerful weapons. He makes items, and Gazer makes allies, or summons allies. Obtaining loot can be tricky, but it's the only way to become stronger. We're all counting on you. Yeah, there's no, like, leveling system in this one. As much as it is an RPG, it uses a very item-driven progression path, which is kind of an interesting way to do it, and there seems to be a ton of versatility in how you can progress through this. Not only because there's a lot of different ways to get through each scene and each situation, but also each time you get an item as loot, you can choose whether you want to make it into a weapon, item, or an ally. So there's going to be a lot of different options that present themselves. So let's take a look at what's in this box. It's a dehydrated skeleton within. One of the bones looks a little different. I say we take it because it's caramelized. Weird. Okay. Sounds like a plan, though. So let's check out these bear traps. There's an amputated bandit leg caught in the closed set of these steel jaws. Well, we have the option to pull it apart with our hands, wedge something between the bear trap jaws to pry it open, or walk away. Well, walking away guarantees I'm not going to get any loot. Pulling the bear trap with my bare hands probably means I'm going to get hurt. But wedging something metal in between the bear trap jaws to pry it open means I'm probably going to use one item, or one use of an item, in exchange for a piece of loot. So since I have a few things, I have a new trusty sword, flintlock pistol, and ashlight. I don't know what the ashlight does, I never really use that. But the trusty sword sounds like a great plan. So I get weapon -1, force it open, and I take a foot. Now, given the fact that I know how long this video is going to be, roughly, I'm pretty sure we won't see the resolution of what this foot does, but later we will encounter someone who has their foot very badly injured / amputated, I'm not sure quite which. But we give the option to that character to use that foot, and he actually stitches it onto himself to walk away, and that results in us getting more loot. So these loot situation / scene environmental puzzle type thingies actually precipitate into further gain later on. So all of our actions do have repercussions, even in an indirect way. So there's a forest entrance. You can see a burning village outside the forest. Probably work of the bandits. That makes sense. Bandits suck. So we've checked out those two. There's a net over here, and this is how each scene will progress. We're going to examine everything we can examine, then move on to the next part of the map, and you'll see the map is a bit sprawling. We get tiles going up and down and left and right, and eventually we find a fortress somewhere over here, and that will be the cue to move on to the next area. Well, the next chapter, I should say, and between that, you know, there's more NPC situations, we talk with more people, we gather a large list of allies. So we have a dangling net from a tree branch. Inside of there remains an unfortunate villager tightly gripping something in his hand. So again, we have another situation where we can either pull something apart with our hands, use a bladed weapon, or leave. I'm going to try it with my hand this time. I bet I'm going to get hurt. Net may be old, but it's sturdy. Okay, so we don't even get hurt. It's just too hard for us. So let's use another weapon use. So bearing in mind that as I use my weapons, I am getting less uses in combat right now. So we get a small shimmering object, and the more loot you can get, the better, since we're scavengers, you know. It's kind of obvious, but it does seem to be something to say. The water doesn't look safe to drink. Okay, I guess we can't do much with that. We got a janky tree over here, it said. Looks like there's something stuck up in the tree. We can either climb it, throw a weapon up to knock it down, or leave. I'm going to throw a weapon up because I kind of get how this works. Let's use a Control A because I just feel like using something different. Item falls and lands in my outstretched arms. We get an old but durable net. Very cool. So we've gotten 3 pieces of equipment now, and we've explored all of the possible things that there are to explore in this scene, so we will move, and moving actually will trigger us to go back to the ship, and then we get to divvy up the loot. So first we'll select our caramelized bone, and then we get to pick which of these 3 dudes we want to give that to craft into either a weapon, item, or ally. And they're going to give us a little hint. Sometimes the hint is actually quite ingenious, especially with Gazer, since he doesn't have a mouth. In this instance, he holds his arms out like a zombie, so you have to sort of intuit what he's talking about by reading it, and see what you think maybe if that'll help you or not, and you're not quite sure what anything's going to be until you actually get the item. So here we'll be able to go first with this awesome cowboy badge. This is rare that he actually explains what the item does. A lot of the time it just sort of gives you a rough hint. And this amber sledge has a strange kinetic property. We can use it in conjunction with bone fragments to make a gun. Last time I did this I made the cowboy badge, which did come in handy in a couple instances, but I'm going to make it into a gun this time. We get a bone dart Uzi. That sounds like a really cool thing to have. And with the old net, see, we've used the ability to make a weapon, so Kameho's done. He's out of the picture. We got to pick the net between him or him. So he stirs the air with his hand as he swings around an invisible lasso. So we get some kind of a trapper or cowboy or something. And he makes a springy weapon that will bounce enemy projectiles back at them like a trampoline. I'd rather have this guy, Gerbok the Trapper. And then that will move us to a new area. So a bandit stands near the edge of the lake, firmly gripping a half-empty bottle of liquid in his hand. Swiftly taking notice of you, the bandit howls in a drunken stupor. What are you looking at? You want a piece of me? Well, I know how drunk people react when you say you want to fight them, so I'm going to actually try and defuse the situation, since I don't have an extra large amount of weapons, so that's kind of the class that I'm choosing to play through my actions, which is interesting, because a lot of times you pick a class and then your actions reflect what you picked. In this case, we're doing it the other way around, if you get what I'm saying. So we're going to ask him what he's drinking. The Cave Brew, which is basically bandit moonshine. It could kill an alka. I don't know what an alka is, but I'm going to assume it's something big. It doesn't do anything to us Vindil, though. Tell you what, if you can finish a whole bottle of this, I'll let you live. I'm going to drink it because I'm crazy. Liquid tastes funny, then it tastes terrible, then you can't taste it at all. Oh, I've been there. After unloading the contents of your stomach in the grass, you black out for several minutes. Alright, so I took 20 damage there, as you can see by that 20 flashing on the screen. When you awaken, the bandit is standing over you, a toothy grin extended between his blackened lips. That was pretty damn impressive. Here, take my other bottle if you get another craven for it. See ya, hick. No, you're the hick, bro. The bandit snorts and then takes another swig of his bottle before stumbling into the forest. And I get some crew brew. So hopefully you're getting a sense of how this progression takes place. It's pretty formulaic at this point. It's going to be the same deal, like open a scene, find some dudes, talk to them, do some combat, check all the different areas you can check, get as much loot as you can, go back to your ship, go back into the area, and then you're going to have a new area on the map to explore. So on and so forth until you reach a natural conclusion, fight a boss, and then the chapter will end. But at least that's my experience from the Chapter 1 to Chapter 2. So that may vary a little bit as we get further into the game, and I'm very interested in knowing how this progression does take place. Small mushrooms and flowers grow from these black vines that protrude from the water. Bandit is carefully picking at the spine vines as if he's searching for something. Let's approach him. Hello there, traveler. Haven't seen you in these parts before. Pay me no heed. I'll be out of your way in a minute. Let's say... What are you doing? Looking for samples of toadstools that sometimes grow on these vines. Though it's disconcerting to find these vines growing this far into the forest. As I yet to locate any fully grown fungi, it appears that the infestation hasn't yet spread as far as I thought. Perhaps even it's not too late to contain it. If you'd excuse me, I need to go back to my post before someone notices I'm gone. Farewell. And it snatches a few mushrooms from the vine and then scurries off. Okay, so that's kind of that interaction. I guess I didn't play that one correctly, or I may have gotten something from it. Nothing much there. We've got a cage, camouflaged within the trees, enough room to fit several wild animals, ... or people. And a patch of thin red gravestone stick from the ground. Must have been some sort of battle here. And then we've got a lake. Something shines up at you from the bottom of this murky lake. Dead fish floating up the surface suggests that it could be risky to swim. So your first option, swim down and get it? No. Let's reach in and hook it. Oh, I used the pistol by accident. I meant to use the sword. Or no, I used the trusty sword. Never mind. Pull it up to the surface without getting my hands dirty, and it's a lure. So I don't even know quite yet what the lure might do in the future for us, but it's nice to know I have it because I'm a scavenger and that's how I roll. I was going to look at my... So there's my inventory. You can see all the stuff I have accumulated so far, and it all has a description on the bottom. There are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of items to discover, and I think every time you play this, you're probably going to get a slightly different loadout through your actions. Crew brew, we're going to turn into something with healing properties. That seems like a good idea. Vampire bat. And a lure we're going to turn into something creepy. Oh, Fainier the Busty. Okay, well, some sort of a temptress nymph or something. And then we move on to the next area. So you see, this is sort of how it goes. We approach an altercation between two opposing sides. A powerful villager has burst out of the cage and is going to town on a group of bandits. Well, I don't know how I feel about the bandits. I was playing sort of neutrally before, but maybe I will help the villager because that seems like a good idea to do. Combining your strength with the villagers, you manage to take down the bandits with ease. As the last bandit lies defeated, the villager turns to you with a scheming smirk. Uh-oh. That was pretty impressive, my friend. Now you're ready to challenge me? What? Why would I challenge you? I just saved your life. You know what, big guy, let's do this. Well, that's kind of classy. But I want to know why. Indeed you did. However, is my destiny to die here? Since you saved my life, it is now your responsibility to finish... What? Okay, so it's some sort of a honor thing, I guess. I didn't really want to fight you, dude. Well, when I did this before, I actually did it a little bit differently. I ended up staying away from it, and the villager and the bandits fought each other, leaving neither of them alive. I think the bandits, like, were barely alive and they walked away, so I didn't have to fight anybody. But I don't think I got any loot from it either, so things went a little differently this time. So we're going to shoot him a bit with our pistol, because that's what we do, I guess. And at least we do have some nice music to listen to here. Reminds me a little bit of Phantasy Star, actually, which is kind of a cool thing to do. He flexes in front of you like he's trying to show off. That's not very good. Let's shoot him with a Bone Dart Uzi. Yeah, I wish there was a little bit more music. It's really nice when it shows up, and it's like a letdown when it goes away. Alright, this dude's gonna just pummel me in a sec. Oh, I guess he did. Okay, he does quite a bit of beating on me. Shoot him with the pistol again, that does 10. 12 back to me, I should be able to absorb another hit. Let's punch him. No, that does 2 damage, that sucks. Let's use the Vampire Bat and see if that heals. Oh, by 6, that's not very good. Glorious battle, you've earned this victory, my friend, but now we must part ways. Dafun is waiting for me. Dafun. He has a pretty belt, you take it. Okay, well I got a sweet power belt. Hopefully that'll let me go into, I don't know, some sort of Digimon world or universe or something. So this will bring us back to another situation where we explore the environment, such as a mass grave, shoddy statue, bandit cage, or broken cage that he escaped from. And I think that will pretty much wrap us up for this look at Dark Scavenger. A very interesting and slightly different take on the usual RPGs that we run into so often. I will recommend, as always, head on over to facebook.com/indieimpression so you can stay up on every night's video. Leave comments, pass them on to friends. If you want to show your friends this new, pretty original RPG, I would recommend give a share on it. That would be pretty helpful to me, and, you know, passing on information about indie games is kind of the point. We want people to be as informed as possible. So beyond that, I would also recommend head on over to Twitter at RockLeeSmile or at indieimpression, and you can stay up on when exactly I post these videos, as well as just shoot the breeze with me about whatever the hell's going on in your indie universe. I'll be happy to discuss whatever you like with you guys. And that will do it for today. So thank you again for watching, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another one. Have a wonderful night, guys.